I'm teaching an undergraduate strength and conditioning course this semester, and I've been reviewing the work of Franz Bosch this week as I prepared for one of the topics in the class, both rereading his book, Strength Training Coordination and Integrative Approach, and also listening to a few podcasts that he's been on in the last year or two. And so one of the things that he talks about is the intention action model. And obviously he relates it to strength and conditioning, and he kind of talked about in one of the podcasts, he talked about the importance of there being the proper intention, and a lot of exercises that we do in terms of strength and conditioning lack the intention, and therefore there's no transfer to performance. And ultimately the purpose of strength and conditioning should be to enhance performance. I think the same thing occurs in a lot of the training videos that I see online. There's maybe a lot of focus on the action, but the actions that we're practicing don't have the proper attention or the proper intention. And when the intention is different, there's no transfer, or the transfer is limited. So to me, the biggest example of this is ball handling drills. So the intention in a game when you dribble is not to dribble. You use the dribble to create a pass or a shot. There's no points for dribbling. If you dribble from one baseline to the other and go out of bounds, it's a turnover. That's not the objective. If you're dribbling in a straight line and it's not a straight line to the basket, what are you doing? You're not doing anything productive. But these are the drills that we do. We dribble from baseline to baseline. We dribble in and out of cones. But staying baseline to baseline, or maybe sideline to sideline. And so there's no intention in these drills. I mean, when you have a player dribble from baseline to baseline, essentially what's the objective? That they can bounce the ball up and down and not make a mistake while they walk or run, without defense. It's a very simple skill. And it is not the same intention as what they're trying to do in a game. And this is why I think I have a previous video talking about the problem with cones and the negative transfer because of cones, because cones automatically turn the player's attention towards the ground. And so now you assume a posture and a visual orientation on the ground, whereas in a game, you need to have your visual orientation in front of you and be able to see defensive players, offensive players, the basket, so that you know what decision to make, where to go with the ball, whether to pass, whether to shoot, whether to slow down, whether to speed up. And this information that's available in the environment is not available from a cone, and it's not available during the game. It's not available from the ground. You have to see the people in front of you. You have to see the basket. You have to see the different interactions on the court. And so when we're dribbling with our eyes on the ground looking at cones, our intention is incorrect. And we underestimate this and we dismiss it and, it's just a drill. To which my response would be, well, if it's just a drill, why are we doing it? Is it just to keep players busy? Is it just, to give players something to do when they come to practice? If it's just a drill, why? Why not just play a game? If it's just a drill, why not play a game? What's the purpose? What's the objective of that drill? And if the intention isn't the same as a game, what are we really developing? We're developing the ability to bounce a ball back and forth up and down the court. But that's not what we're trying to do in a game. In a game, we're trying to create a shot. We're trying to create a pass, one or the other. We're trying to break down a defense so that we can create that pass or we can create that shot. We are trying to get past a defensive player so that we can create that pass or we can create that shot. We're trying to get an angle on a defensive player so we can create that pass or create that shot. And all of these, which could be the intention in the game, depending on the situation, depending on the player, depending on teammates, defensive setup, time and score, etc. Those are all valid intentions. But they're not present during the drills. And so if we really want the ball handling work to transfer to these game situations where these are the intentions, these should be the intentions, or we should have intentions close to these, or as close to these as possible during practice. So that doesn't mean everything has to occur in 5-on-5 situations, because that probably limits repetitions, and especially limits ball handling repetitions for each player, because only one player would be able to dribble the ball at the time. But we need to construct drills, whether they're 2-on-2, 2-on-1, 1-on-2, with a potential passing option, things like this that allow that same intention to be there. So, even if we're doing, the dreaded zigzag drill, well, the intention shouldn't be to advance the ball down the court. The intention should be to advance the ball down the court to make a pass, or to advance the ball down the court to create a shot. And so that zigzag drill should either be 1-on-1, where we're trying to score, or 1-on-1 where we're trying to enter the ball into, a teammate. So maybe it's 1-on-1 into 3-on-3, where you have a passing option on each side of the court. That turns a fake fundamental into a drill where we can get more repetitions for players, because we can exchange who's the ball handler, and we can rotate through, and in 3-on-3 we can have a quick possession, etc. And potentially we could be going in both directions at the same time, so there's also more contextual interference in the court. Now, not only do we have to pay attention to our player, we have to look to see who we're trying to get open on the wing on our side of the court, but we also have to watch out for an offensive and a defensive player that's coming towards us and getting ready to play 3-on-3 on this end of the court. So now we can have 12 players involved, 2 players handling the ball, getting the same type of repetitions that we're trying to get out of a zigzag drill, but with the right intention, because now we're trying to create a pass, or potentially, if we beat our player and nobody helps, now we're creating a shot, and that's what we would do in a game. So we have the same intention and action coupling, or intention action model that we have in a game, and we're accomplishing essentially the same thing that we're trying to get out of a simple zigzag drill, where we're just going baseline to baseline. There's no real intention, and to me it's a fake fundamental for various reasons, of which I've written about in a book, if you're interested. So I think anytime we look at a drill, if the intention of that drill is not the same as how we would use that skill in a game, we need to redesign that drill. We need to think harder about why it is we're using that drill, and how we can incorporate some of the task constraints so that we have the same intention, and we can increase the transfer, improve the transfer from that drill into game performance.